Let us know when you're live.
We're live in 3, 2, 1.
Ooh, I got an Instagram message.
Alright, put that shit
It's
away.
It's from myself. It's from myself.
How do you
send an Instagram message to yourself?
It just a notification letting me know that the timer I put on Instagram is up. I'm like, oh whoa, some interaction from other people. We're getting some clout now, guys. But no.
Countdown is done.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hi everyone. For
guys.
anyone that's gonna watch this, we are the Streaks and Geeks podcast. This is our After Dark special, which we basically talk about whatever we want. I know it doesn't look like it's dark, but
it's because we're on the other side of the world. Right? Time zone differences. So for someone it's dark.
It doesn't get dark here until like 8 o'clock.
For someone else it's dark right now, so we're doing it for those people.
Oh damn.
I know, right? Do you see my background?
Yeah, you should get some like. That makes some pretty good lighting if your camera actually faces the other direction, I think.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, some natural lighting.
Unnatural.
Like right straight on. Yeah.
It legit looks like there's like nothing but whiteness behind him at one point. If you really look at it, it's like he's like it's like he's like an alien beam is gonna like shine down and take him away or something.
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay, so what is today?
It's
What's up?
June 6th, 2020.
All right, so today is June 6th, 2020. It's been a week now since our last episode, and a lot has happened in the past 2 weeks.
A lot is like understating, man.
Yeah.
Just like exponentially.
It's kind of the theme of 2020, dude. Like every month, like something big happens.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some bad things like a pandemic. The good things too, like certain racial inequalities coming to light, and people actually like trying to like make a difference about it. But then also, pandemic, recession, fires.
I mean, do you guys ever see those memes on Reddit about like how it's like January World War III, February Australian wildfires, like March quarantine, April like murder hornets or something like that, and then May or something. Or was May murder hornets? Do you guys remember the murder hornets?
I've never even seen a murder hornet. I think that was just all hype.
No, yeah.
I didn't hear about murder hornets like spreading throughout the U.S. and killing millions of people or anything like that.
Yeah, but it qualified for at least like, how do you say it? It qualified for something to be so terrifying that it had to join the ranks of like the worst things that happened in 2020. Even though,
in my opinion, the murder hornets were a filler episode.
Yeah, there you go.
They were here for like
compared to everything else. Yeah.
They didn't even affect the continuity whatsoever. I don't even think they're canon.
Yeah, I mean, we were only talking about them for like 30, like like not even like 3 or 4 days. Murder Hornets were the worry, and then that was it. But somehow it's still earned the ranks of like, oh, this is why 2020 is so terrible, Murder Hornets. But I'm like, bro, they were only
probably just the meme.
They were here for less than a week. I don't know.
Yeah. So before we kind of like get into like talking about like current events and everything like that, we do want to kind of bring light to an issue about the Black Lives Matters movement. It's a really important movement that I think is extremely trending right now. We wanted to just let people know that we are in complete support of that movement. We've done a little bit of research and we wanted to suggest some places that you can donate to help out. There is the bailproject.org, which is basically an organization where they take donations, they pay for bail for protesters that were wrongfully locked up, and then they use that bail money, which if you didn't know, after you're released, they return the bail money back to you. So the bail money kind of gets recycled and it helps out people that have been incarcerated in prison for protesting, which is their right. There's also the George Floyd Memorial Fund on GoFundMe. So please go ahead and support that, help out his family and everything like that. There's also Campaign Zero, which is a political online movement that looks for policies online that will help end systematic injustice with racism and everything like that. Also, for anyone that doesn't have any money to donate to the Black Lives Matters movement, there's a YouTuber by the name of Zoe Amira that has a YouTube video going on that if you go ahead and stream it, if you turn off your ad block and put it on repeat, you can even mute it if you want. It'll run ads over and over again because it has a lot of them. all that ad revenue will go towards numerous Black Lives Matters organizations and bail fund out organizations as well. So just want to let you guys know that like I said, we're in complete support of that movement. Do you guys have anything else to add about your opinion on it?
No, I think you pretty much covered all of it. I like how you included the stream. I was going to mention that too, just because I get it. Like, a lot of people are unemployed right now, including me.
I played the stream for an entire day. I played it over and over and over again.
Money's hard to come by, and it's a nice passive way to try to support it too, other than protesting, which be careful too, watch out for yourself. Swimming goggles aren't good eye protection because of the suction of the vacuum inside them. They might pop your eye out. It sounds like I'm fucking around, but we're like Viking goggles or something else, or maybe like some other kind of eyewear. Just make sure they're not swimming goggles. Just a little PSA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to say anything, Ben? About
yeah. I think here in America we unfortunately a lot of people.
I think we lost the host.
We lost the host.
Sorry about that, guys. Since I didn't touch my computer, it kicked me off to the AFK channel.
So you need to be constantly moving your mouse.
Yeah.
I think that very unfortunately this country's gotten very, very wealthy over the past 50, 60, 100 years or so like that, and it's unfortunate that people who are in our country don't get the same benefits just because of the way that they look or their cultural background. Like, I think that there's a lot of unresolved issues that we need to talk about in America. I think Black Lives Matter is definitely a huge movement that it's not just a trend, but this is going to continue on in the future as it's always been in the past. It's always been a very, very touchy but important subject. I don't want to say touchy in terms of like, people not wanting to talk about it, but I feel that it's very divisive, even though it really shouldn't be. And it just sucks that a lot of people have had very fortunate, what would you say? Very fortunate privileges in their life.
Have been fortunate enough not to have to go through that.
Exactly.
Or to witness it, so they kind of don't really acknowledge it's there.
Yeah. Right. Maybe ignorance is bliss, but I don't think that you could sleep on the movement now. I think it's so big that that you have to have heard about it by now.
It seems to have reached a boiling point.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's unfortunate that it took so long for this to become such a big movement. There's hundreds of years of history that is unfortunately been written where slaves haven't gotten their fair share of the American wealth, and it just sucks for everyone involved, to be honest. But all four of us greatly support the movement, and we all want equality in some sense. Maybe not equality of outcome, but definitely equality of opportunity.
Quality of justice.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, just because a lot of people are pushing back doesn't mean that half or less than half of the population is somehow what's the word? Right about the BLM movement not being right. If history taught us anything, is that whenever some injustice is brought to light, those who were in the upper, more privileged areas sort of fight back against that because they don't really believe it's there. For example, when Castro took over Cuba, he started talking more about racial inequality, and we had that mass exodus of those Cuban exiles. Some of them were wealthy Cubans that went, oh no, race was never an issue in Cuba before Castro. But that's because it was never an issue for them because they were never the ones being oppressed. It was an issue after it was brought up and they started hearing about it. so they didn't like to hear about the oppression itself. And again, like Ben said, generational wealth is a huge problem because of redlining. They didn't have homes to get some good collateral to get loans and actually build their wealth and start new businesses and have money to pass on down to their children. But that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Again, I'm still an undergrad. I'm not an expert on this at all.
What do you guys think about the protests?
I think they're good, but they're dangerous. Be careful out there.
I'm just upset. I'm just upset like that rioters and looters are taking advantage of this cause in order to like kind of. I've always thought that like you had to be like a pretty low kind of person to like use a community's pain and outrage as a means to fulfill your personal desire of causing chaos and selfish desire to like break shit, especially for people that had nothing to do with it. It's just always very upsetting because I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. You know what I mean?
Not saying that all the I would say like I think in the very beginning when the George Floyd thing happened, I think the initial riots were in response to that. But I think any riots or looting that's going on now, more than likely it's people taking that BLM movement and using it to their advantage. Which for the people that think that's the BLM movement, it's rioting, looting right now, it's fucking not. They are even against it. They're trying to stop it themselves because they don't want to be categorized with those people that are destroying property, stealing, hurting people, everything like that. So don't believe everything you see in the news is what I'm gonna say. I think
by the way, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna add 2 more quick things about it. I think Chris Rock said it really well in a comedy special. But the whole idea that people are saying like, oh, not all cops are bad. There's only a few bad apples in the bunch. I agree with him when he says that for the job of being a cop, there shouldn't be any bad apples in the first place. These are people that have sworn to serve and protect us, and they also have weapons and access to military personnel, which they have access to military weapons, which have the potential to end lives. So I think everyone that's in charge of that stuff should all be good. And also for the people that say in combat to Black Lives Matters that all life matters, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. No one's talking about you. Your life is not the one that's in danger. It's Black lives that are the ones that are in danger. So they are the ones to take precedence at this time. Okay? That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Before we move on, we have a couple of questions in the chat right now. We have someone named Mr. Trey Dog asking us if we're a doctor. Asking if any of us are a doctor.
We're doctors on Fiverr. I'll tell you that.
But okay.
We're doctors on Fiverr.
Listen, if this is some kind of clever joke, I don't get it, guys. Someone needs to explain it to me.
Let's just say
I'm not even fucking around.
My mother and father were very disappointed in my career choices. That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen, man, I look at rocks. That's what I want to do for a living.
I think you'd be the
rocks.
For
crack cocaine.
For
I
Grizzly
think rocks are neat.
Genie. For Grizzly Genie, you're asking where the Shriek's at, though. Bro, you gotta come see us on Thursday nights. That's when we talk about like some scary stuff, you know.
That's when we do the streaks.
Saturday nights.
We can talk about the.
Yeah, Saturday nights we're just, you know, we just are. It's an unscripted after dark edition where we just talk about whatever we want, kind of thing.
It's kind of where the. Oh, sorry, you were gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, like it's legit. If you just want to like chill with chill with some dudes that would just talk about like whatever shoot the shit, feel free, man.
But if you're in for the Shrieks or Geeks stuff, like Joslin said earlier, on Thursday nights is when we talk about our actual content and everything like that. Which, by the way, keep in tune for the next one. It's gonna be definitely very like a dark episode. The next one, so keep an eye out for it.
But also it's unscripted, so we might talk about some shrieks today. We don't know that.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah,
Mr. Trey Dogs.
There's some geeky stuff.
Look at that. You guys see that? That kind of looks like a ghost in the corner of my room.
Nah, it's too dark. I can't really see it.
Mr. Trey Dogs, you should actually go to the hospital.
No.
Oh yeah, dude! If you broke your pinky toe, you should go to the freaking hospital. Put on a face mask before you go, though.
Too short. Okay. So we're clearly not the Twitch stream you want to be on right now. If you want to like fix your pinky toe. But you know what? Put us to the side if you have a second monitor, and then look up a YouTube video of how to fix your pinky toe. But you can listen to us talk. We'll soothe you all day. We'll be the anesthesia. But
there's some things that I want to bring up that are more on the geeky side, I guess you could say. Space travel, or not space travel, but I guess space launchers. SpaceX and NASA recently came together and sent a few astronauts to the International Space Station.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was last weekend. Last weekend it happened, and this is huge. This is like huge because this is the first time that NASA's ever worked with a third-party company, a third-party
besides Russia.
Like a third-party independent company that's founded with capitalistic ventures to send astronauts to space. And this hasn't. Well, I don't think we've sent astronauts to the ISS since 2011. So this is huge. Not only for NASA, but also for SpaceX as a company, and as the whole frontier as a whole. I think space travel is going to be way cheaper in the future, as it already is from when we first launched rockets into space. So there's that. Go ahead.
I mean, don't get me wrong, that's really cool and great, and I support their venture in bettering the future, but it's not like we're going to reap the benefits. We're going to get the really hard, boring part of space travel. We're going to have the hard colonizing and terraforming different rocks in our solar system, and then our great-great-grandchildren get to have the awesome space adventures like in Cowboy Bebop and stuff.
Right. But what I'm saying is that, like, technologies that are focused on getting to space and using space as a means of exploration could now profit and profit a lot. Like, I mean, like companies that are making satellites for geospatial images or even GPS, like there's 300 to 400 satellites orbiting Earth right now as we speak, and it's crazy how far we've come from the Mars rovers and how far technology has excelled in the past 10 years and how far we're able to go and how much further we can go. I think that's quite interesting with how much.
I think it's a.
I have a
it's
question.
a good start, but I think it'd go faster if there was like some actual decent competition to SpaceX. You know, just because competition breeds better product. I mean,
yeah.
What, Virgin Airlines?
Yeah, Virgin Galactic. You also
Galactic.
have you also have Maxar Technologies. You have other companies that are trying to build their own, not just their own rockets, but their own satellites to send into space. You have what are some other companies? I don't know off the top of my head. But
Actually,
that's not that much though. Sorry, go ahead.
Someone in the chat actually has a question about you about the SpaceX thing, Ben. Wild Spirit B, he asked, wasn't NASA against it at first? What happened?
I believe NASA was against it. I think. What? Go ahead.
So don't quote me on this because I don't have a source for it. But if I remember right, it might have been money because SpaceX makes everything in-house, while NASA has to subcontract everything else to like other private companies to build their rockets and everything like that. So SpaceX has to build everything in-house. It's a lot cheaper, and you can reuse their products too.
Yes.
But that's just my assessment. Don't write that on your essay and turn it in.
This is pretty interesting because I guess the reason as to why Boeing is still such a big company and why it's still alive even after all of these years is because of their cooperation with the federal government and other governments around the world. What they essentially do is they create jobs, right? Like, yes, Boeing as a company fundamentally creates rockets and airplanes and stuff like that, right? But if you break down the company as a whole, they send out their parts to other parts of the world and other parts of the United States to build and not composite, but build and restructure. So what happens is more jobs are created for something that could be done in-house. And over the years, NASA has lost drastic funding, and unfortunately, space is very expensive, and I don't think the government wants to fund that. And
Really?
now we have third-party companies that can do it and could fund it because they're just good companies that have reaped many millions of dollars over the past few years with their successful releases of products. Not just SpaceX, but like
I have a question.
other companies as well too.
I personally have a question. I didn't know. I mean, I just saw like news articles, like the headlines. I never read the actual article talking about how like SpaceX and how like Elon Musk was sending astronauts into space, but I never knew why. Like, why are they? Like, why is he like so invested in space travel right now?
It's all part of his master plan.
His master plan. What
And
do you mean?
yeah, it's exactly what he calls it, the master plan. And
He wants a Tesla planet. That's what he wants. What?
Pretty
If we're
much.
being honest.
He wants a Tesla.
Yeah.
Emperor of the Solar.
Yeah.
I mean,
In 2006, what happened in 2006 was he released his master plan, and it's essentially his strategy for breaking into the market and kind of running the market. What he outlined was like kind of like a 10-year growth line for the company as a whole. What they plan on doing was creating a really good car for not that much money relative to things. So like they created the Tesla Model S, I believe, or the Sportster, and that was that used the subframe of a Lotus. And essentially what that like did was that it kind of broke into the market, and it allowed them to compete with higher end car companies. And when they were found to be kind of like a small name within the market, they were able to push out more and more products and drive the prices down, with each successful product release. So like the very first Sportster that they produced was very expensive, and then over time, like now the Model 3 is like under $40,000, which is extremely cheap in relative to the car that you're going to get. And they're able to do this because of the simple manufacturing costs of doing everything in-house, right? Like they used to buy their batteries, but now they produce it themselves. They bought out a huge Panasonic warehouse and facility where they're able to produce the batteries themselves. And Tesla does more than just cars. They do renewable energy. They do house like power storage. There's a lot that they do.
all right.
Listen,
all right.
I just
Makes sense.
I don't trust one guy in charge of space. That's all I'm gonna say about this.
Isn't he just like the face
Yeah.
of like Tesla? Like he's not actually like making anything personally, is he?
I don't know, man. I'm just saying, if he's the only dude that can build a space fleet, and suddenly he's doing shit with that space fleet we don't want to be done, and the government orders him to stop, who's gonna fucking stop him? He's got a space fleet.
He's pretty much like Tony Stark, but in real life. And
Yeah.
Until he
Okay,
builds
okay,
an
okay.
Iron Man suit,
Okay,
then he'll be
okay,
Tony Stark to
okay.
me.
The reason as to why he wants to do it is because he finds it extremely interesting. This has always been like, or not always been his goal, but it's been his goal for like the past 18 years. And if you watch the interview after the SpaceX launch, he almost broke down in tears. Like,
of joy?
yeah, because he was so happy about what him and his company has accomplished in the past 20
Space
years.
travel. Was there a destination they were aiming for? Like we're gonna go to the moon first.
Mars.
Mars, he really wants to terraform.
No, but like
Yeah,
where
they really wanna terraform
did
Mars,
SpaceX
but-
go for this first launch? Like, did it just like travel around the Earth for a second and then came back?
Space,
Or-
man. We just talked about
No.
this.
No, but like where did they land?
Yeah, they sent astronauts to the ISS, and the rocket was able to come back down and land safely for another use, which is huge because obviously that cuts back on costs and waste. And
Personally, I wouldn't want to be the second group of astronauts leaving on that same shuttle. Personally,
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
I mean, you could also say the reverse. You wouldn't want to be the first in case it blows up or
That's
something
true,
like
yeah.
that. Which,
yeah,
by the way, knocking on wood.
I didn't hear a third knock, so
Well, I heard the third knock.
I guess that's all that matters, right?
yeah.
So he wants
What
to
else?
terraform Mars for
Yeah.
us?
No, not for us. Definitely not within our lifetime. There's no way. There's no
I
way.
meant us
Okay,
in like
whoa.
a humanity sense. Like
Oh
for
yeah, yeah, yeah.
humanity.
For like human race, yeah.
I'm just saying, if he's the only one capable of sending people there, he's probably just gonna pick and choose who he wants to send there. So if the world's
sign up.
burning, he might just
Oh, you can sign up.
You can
like,
sign
on
up
the
for a
internet?
raffle.
yeah.
You can sign up for a raffle for a chance to
Really?
win a trip to Mars. I mean, obviously it's a one-way trip, but you know,
It's a one-way
you're gonna
trip.
be- well, yeah,
Yeah, you're Mars. Oh,
I don't
hopefully one way if you make it there.
I mean,
yeah.
dude, imagine like if it was the raffle thing. Like, let's say he was only gonna send like maybe like 100 people up there for the very first time after it's like after like a base has been established. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm legit like just projecting, pretending. Let's say 100 people
Yeah.
get to go up there, right? What if
Yeah.
like the raffle was so random that like 10 out of those 100 people were like serial killers, but like uncaught serial killers? You know what I mean?
That's a horror
I don't
movie
know.
right there to write.
I mean, don't you think
That
they
sounds
would-
like a really.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh,
No, you go ahead.
just imagine that they would do like a basic psychological test. No, I mean, you gotta imagine that these people are gonna spend time together in a spaceship before they get to Mars.
Bro, yo,
So, like,
I mean, yo,
Space madness.
Ed Kemper, the co-ed killer, was literally in a psych institution, and he knew exactly what he had to say to get out. So I'm just saying, like, what if he run into another serial killer that's just smart enough to pass a psych eval test?
Mm.
It's happened before.
Ed Kemper would be too big to send into space, I think. This is where us short guys, this is where we shine, guys. Us 5'8" and unders,
5'8".
our time.
Yeah, plus you'll probably grow a little taller. Your spine.
Oh
will,
yeah, right. Probably get a few.
So you'll probably become 5'10" by the time you come back.
I'll probably get disqualified then.
Yeah,
It's fucking bullshit.
dude.
You're short enough to go up, but you're too tall to come back.
They'll come back. That's why I gotta die on Mars.
That's why it's a one-way trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe it's because like right now I'm a single 20-year-old guy with like no kids or anything like that. But dying on Mars sounds pretty rad. But
I mean, you
I
say
don't know.
that until you actually do. Then you're like, wow, this was not rad
Yeah.
at all.
I mean, die of
Have you
old
seen
age.
The Martian? Have you seen The Martian?
We'll
with Matt
probably
Damon?
never like ever even get to see what it's like, or even get an idea of what it's like, because yeah,
I just want to
It's
go to
too far.
Mars and then like feel the bare dirt and push my like bare skin on the Martian dirt, just to know I'm there. You know?
That's
Well,
so
the
bizarre.
cool thing is if you do die up there, your body won't rot. You'll stay there perfectly mummified forever.
What? What proof? do
Yeah,
you
no
have?
oxygen.
Oh, there's
No oxygen.
No oxygen on Mars. Oh,
No,
yeah. I forgot about that.
Or there's little, I don't remember, but less O2, less chance you're gonna be broken down.
And then maybe in like 100 years, a sandstorm will come and just cover your body, and you'll be buried in Mars forever.
And then the aliens 100 million years from now are gonna discover my body as the only trace of humanity ever left, because everyone else wiped themselves out.
And then they're gonna think.
Yeah, because
they're gonna think, God damn, this guy was short as hell. Only 5.
We're the same fucking height, man.
no,
I
you
can't
guys
believe
are
they sent
not.
such an inferior genetic to Mars.
Genetically
Oh.
inferior man.
You're the shortest one here, Ben. I know where the fuck you're talking shit.
Yeah, that means I get to go. You're too tall.
Your camera's pointing up instead of down, okay?
When they find Ben's remains, they're gonna be like, "Oh, they sent a child up here. How heartless." Yikes!
A
Oh my
child.
God.
How cruel of these humans.
I mean,
Oh, jeez.
does he have an estimate of how long it's gonna take before they actually can start terraforming, or is it for sure after we're gone?
Dude, I don't think we could start
He
terraforming
said-
Mars until like maybe like 80, 90 years from now.
He's
Like
probably gonna
success-
light a
That's
bubble.
pretty
Why-
soon. That's
why,
pretty soon.
Why
actually.
89? Why not even like 90 or
Bro.
like 100?
I said 80
Dude, I think,
or
yeah.
90.
Oh,
Dude, I think
80
it'd
or
take-
90.
Fuck that. I think it'd take like centuries. I don't think we're talking about I don't think we're talking about decades. I think we're talking about centuries here,
Yo,
if at all.
So Wild Spirit B, the one that asked Ben the question about NASA, he's also asking us if we could talk about the UFO. He says he doesn't know a lot about it. He just heard about it on the Joe Rogan podcast. So
I guess we're opening up that can of worms today.
I guess we're talking about aliens today. All right.
Hey, just so you guys know,
aliens are
Danny right here does not believe in aliens because he's a little too narrow-minded.
Well, first of all, you just fucked up because we're recording Jason's screen, so he just pointed at some other random area.
Yeah, bro.
You could have just pointed at Ben. So let that speak to who's narrow-minded, okay?
Okay.
And second, it's not that I don't believe in aliens. I just think
you don't have
these are
to. Alien. I mean,
they don't believe in you.
What, you mean they're not like God? If I don't believe in them hard enough, they don't disappear? I just think that space is so big that even if they're real, we're never going to meet or contact any of them, so what's the point?
But we have already contacted them. That's the whole point.
I agree, probably.
For the last time I was born.
Oslo.
I feel like...
Well, okay, as far as we know, we were born here. All right. What if we used to live on Mars and then we terraformed Earth because it was like dying, and now Earth is dying, so now we're gonna try to terraform Mars. Let's go back.
I actually think South Park described it the best. South Park described it the best. There were entire planets of different races. So there was a Chinese planet, there was a Mexican planet, and then so therefore these aliens wanted a show to see, oh, let's put them all together and see what happens. And Earth is their TV show, man. Right now they're on season 2020, and they're just like, holy shit, this is the most drama-filled year ever. Like, holy crap.
Oh,
can we get some new writers, please?
I really hope that's not the case, because if that's the case, that means we're climaxing in the story. That means the show's almost over. I'd just like to point that out in terms of TV writing.
Hey, don't worry about it, because considering how long the series has been going on, it's probably going to end like in another like half a millennia. So we'll be good. It's okay.
Plus, don't forget this.
There'll be a new cast of characters.
Popular television shows always try to create spin-offs. So maybe Mars is our spin-off.
Ooh, speaking of Mars, see, I like that theory, Ben, but fossils. Fossils showing us evolving on Earth. So I don't want to burst that bubble.
No. That's what I'm saying. What if the germs that we came from were from Mars? Like,
oh yeah, I'm willing to accept that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Okay. But I think I do think aliens exist, and I do think that we've definitely come in contact with them. I think one of the more prominent, like, not
pieces of
not evidence per se. Yeah, pieces of. I mean, I guess you could say piece of evidence is probably.
I wouldn't know what else to call it.
Yeah, true. Would probably be Area 51 and the government's inability to hide it on the map, and just Bob Lazar, the
Ben's man.
Who's that guy? Yeah. Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, Elon's pretty hard to beat, but
hard to beat.
I don't see Bob Lazar making a spaceship
off. Hard to beat. Off.
But, yeah. I think.
Which. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just about to say. I think we segued from that question about the UFO.
Yeah. Wild Spirit B. Which UFO event are you referring specifically? Because there's been a lot of them.
I think they mean the leaks, the one with the three recent videos.
From the Pentagon, right?
Yeah. So first they got leaked, and then they got declassified. So they got leaked and like by some of the pilots, I think, and then they got declassified, which just means like, yeah, those are real. Those are from us. We don't know what they are. But I'd just like to point out that doesn't mean the government acknowledges that aliens are real or anything. It just means that they acknowledge that they don't know what they're looking at. So it could, for all we know, it could just be like a spy drone from like China or Russia or something. Which is entirely, it's entirely possible.
Don't talk about China like that.
It's possible, but I don't think it's real. I don't like. I think the possibility is very slim, and I think that there's a bigger probability that aliens.
Aliens?
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt. I mean, okay, sorry, I take that back. Not without a doubt, but I think that there's more probability that it could be aliens than a more advanced first world country with better military power or superior military power. Because I think we've always had a lead within military power, and I think that's due to the fact that we're so isolated from other world powers. I mean, we have 2 oceans on either side, and I think because of that, we've definitely excelled very, very far in terms of military power and research and just technology as a whole.
Yeah, ever since World War II, the U.S. has made a precedent. I don't know how to say it. Of being able to fight a war. Yeah, being able to fight a war on 2 fronts. That makes sense.
Yeah,
but
right.
I don't know. I think it's
power.
I think it's much more likely that it's just some super advanced secret tech from another country, because like we know that technology exists, or that's how it's usually perceived. I mean, imagine if you told someone from like 1930 that we have the capability of like making a bomb that destroys like, you know, an entire city. They'd be like, you're fucking with me. Those are aliens with a death ray, obviously.
All right, wait. But but how do you explain element 115?
I don't know what that is.
Oh. So I can't explain it because I don't know what it is.
Take a seat, man.
Okay.
Take a seat. Yeah, He's gonna tell you about element 115.
You.
Ignorance
My ignorance just won.
Yo.
I'm gonna turn on the fan.
It's an element that Bob Lazar mentioned way back in the 1990s, I think, before it was even on the actual periodic table. And it was only put on the periodic table once it was established by some European nation, I forgot, or some European country. I forgot which one, and in what year. I want to say 2006. 2005 or 2006, something like that.
It's a European
something
country.
within that ballpark. And I think it's only been put on the periodic table because they were able to stabilize it for like less than a second or something. But Bob Lazar was talking about this like way back in 1990, and how the aliens or how the UFO craft that they worked on involved element 115, and why or how is used as fuel for the device that floats the UFO. I mean, we can go into a whole like conversation about this, but one of the biggest things that I believe what causes the aliens to, or the UFO crafts to fly and move so sporadically, is the way that Bob Lazar kind of explained its mechanism of flight. It doesn't use like a regular engine per se. It uses a little, like a pill-shaped kind of device that generates an anti-gravitational circle, I guess you could say, or like an anti-gravitational.
We had someone in the chat say it's called Moscovium. Moscovium? Can we fact check that?
Moscovium. I'll look that up right now while continues to.
Yeah, the way you were describing the ship, and like it's the inner machinations of how how it works. It definitely sounds like something that's like literally quote unquote like out of this world kind of thing. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think
so. Moscovium element 115. Moscovium, according to Wikipedia. So is a synthetic chemical element with a symbol MC and atomic number 115. So it's sort of towards the bottom right of the periodic table. So if you guys remember from chem, those are sort of the elements that can't really exist in a stable state. So they're studied in like very short periods of times in like hadron colliders and things like that. You need to quickly create them and then absorb them, and they exist for like parts of a second.
I don't remember anything from chemistry.
Yeah,
at all.
I had to retake chemistry during the summer, so you're literally.
That's like saying, does anyone remember how to do algebra here?
No.
Yeah,
no, man.
I do actually. What?
Nerd.
Yeah, what?
It's like 1 + 1 is 2, and then find X the next day.
Yeah.
That's not algebra. That's like basic math.
That's pre-algebra.
It's like 1 + X = what? And that's algebra, is it not?
Please tell me that was
well, I'm thinking. Okay, fine.
Like pre-algebra. Yeah.
Okay, fine. I don't remember like calculus or anything like that. Calculus is just.
I'll be honest. I don't remember algebra for shit. I haven't taken a math class in like
That's pretty bad.
7 years. I mean, I can
you're
still
done
do,
with school
I
though,
can
so
do
you're
basic
fine.
addition, but yeah.
You got your degree.
I've
You
got
don't
my
need to
degree.
prove
I don't need to
anything.
do math
Yeah.
anymore. You know
Yeah, I
what I
have
Yeah.
a degree. I don't
All you
need
do is
math
write
anymore.
English.
Yeah,
You don't need
right.
mathematics.
He tries to write a
But-
movie about a mathematician. He's like, "Fuck! I gotta learn all about math all over again."
mean? Yeah.
Get a ghostwriter.
Get a ghostwriter.
I'll just hire a math nerd
But-
and I'll ask him questions.
But to go back on the
Muscovium
subject.
You say it like
I
I'm such
mean-
a white guy.
I'm trying not to mispronounce it. Like, all right,
Muscovium. Just say it
Cool.
like that.
Call it element 115.
Or
cool, element 115, but we don't know it can do that because we can't recreate it for more than a few seconds. And even
Alright,
if
true,
we
true,
could, even if we could, that doesn't mean it's aliens. Because I just like to point out, when steel was invented, a lot of earlier cultures thought it was some kind of magical sword because it wouldn't break or whittle down as fast as iron.
People
Okay,
used
it's
to think,
fair.
He's trying to
Okay,
tell you
but-
your theory ain't worth shit.
What I'm saying is that element 115 is not normally found on Earth, and it's synthetic, and that typically means that in order to like have something like that, you gotta have mass quantities. Otherwise, how do you travel interstellarly with it? You know, like I would imagine that. Well, what
Or interdimensionally.
Yeah, or that. I mean, yeah. Well, either way, all I'm saying is that Bob Lazar makes a really good case on the Joe Rogan Experience about his job at Groom Lake and what he was doing before and stuff like that. I think it's extremely suspicious that the government has revoked, or not revoked, but has erased a lot of his data, like his birth certificate and his scholarship, or sorry, not his scholarships, but where he went to
credentials.
school.
Like his
Yeah,
credentials.
credentials.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, does he have proof that they used to exist? Because it could just be like, some guy that went like, I used to have these, but the government got rid of them.
No, if I remember correctly, someone discovered a phone book from Groom Lake back in 19 like whatever, and Robert Lazar was actually in the phone book. So
Oh, so
and
they
that
did
was his like legal name. So they did actually find him
proof
within
of
a
his
part
existence.
proof of his existence within Groom Lake. And on top of that, he was able to prove that he has like credentials from pretty famous, or not, from a very established school. I forgot what he went to. I forgot if it was Yale or MIT, but it's one of those. I think.
Probably
I forgot,
MIT.
but
Probably
it's a
MIT.
pretty like prestigious school. And he explains in the Joe Rogan Experience, but I think he got the job as like through some third party private company or something like that. And he says that the government might have had this device within their possession for like years now. It's just every 10 years they hire someone else, or every 10-20 years they hire someone else to try to reverse engineer it, because they try to test how far technology's gone and how much we've come to learn within the past 10 years to try to reverse engineer it. And they kind of take it out and they let you study it, and then they put it away so like nobody finds out about it and stuff like that. But that's what he said.
And that's how we got 5G and GPS. Oh, I'm serious. Well, GPS, yeah, for sure.
But
GPS used to be government technology. I'm just saying.
So did
well,
computers.
yeah,
So-
so it's the touchscreen, and so it's pretty much like anything that we have to this day. The government
Further
gets it
proving my
first.
point.
Yeah, the government gets it first, and then once they find something better, they give it to the rest of.
But Danny,
Sorry, Ozan, you were.
where does the
saying
government get it from? Aliens.
Boom. I'm kidding. I was actually gonna say, like, wait, so you said for Bob Lazar, they got rid of all his, like, they basically erased his identity, right?
Yeah.
To say he didn't exist. So what did he do afterwards? Was he just like, shit, I can't go anywhere because my license says I don't exist. Like, how do you even
I don't
like apply
actually know.
for like welfare or anything like that? Did he have to go
He kinda
off the
went-
grid, or?
Yeah, he kind of went under the radar, and for a few years, he was turning down interviews and not really talking about it. I guess not just for the fear of his life, but his family too. he talks about how frequent he would have to lie to his wife about where he worked and his friends about where he worked and special projects that he was working on. He mentioned that he would have to go to work at like 2-3 in the morning so that nobody could see where he was driving to and stuff like that because Groom Lake actually has a special flight that goes into Las Vegas, and then you take a bus that takes you to work, and it's like this whole like thing just to get people to not find out where these people are going to work at. Because if you know the people and you know where they're working at, like you could theoretically
find the location,
kidnap them, and seek information. Yeah, because obviously it's. I mean, I'm thinking like worst case scenario, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even if it was used for clandestine purposes, I think the global attention it gets now really just disqualifies it for that kind of work at that base. I think now most of the time it's just to keep up appearances, you know, to keep Area 51 up just so you won't ask about Area 50 or 52. Because if everyone's focused on Area 51, you can do that crazy shit somewhere else.
Well, Area 51's
like Groom Lake.
Area 51 is basically not a hoax, but like it's something to draw attention away from people from the real shit.
Yeah.
Man, I never would have thought of that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Their most secretive base is also alternatively known as their most well-known base that anyone can find.
Dude, do you guys remember that one meme where people are like, yo, let's all raid Area 51?
Mm-hmm. They can't stop us all. Which, by the way, yeah, they can. They can totally.
They can mow your ass down, and it would be fully justified.
I think a mounted turret can do 1,000 rounds per minute.
Dude.
Yeah,
you know,
the government does not care about its civilians or its citizens. It cares about its special interests, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I both applaud the people that actually like stuck through with it and went to Area 51, but I also think that they're very like, dog, why would you waste a plane ticket just to like go live in front of Area 51, bro? That's like, unless you still have clout from after that, you literally wasted your money. Like, holy shit.
Most of them didn't even do the Naruto run.
Yeah, right. No, wait.
Only one guy did.
One did. he went from like one end to the field to the other behind like a news reporter or something like that.
Dude, the amount of girls he must have got afterwards, or dudes, I don't know. Whatever he likes is whatever he likes. I don't know.
Save some for the rest of us, please.
It all started originally as a Reddit meme, right?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if it was Reddit, but it got
or like
so
it started.
It was a
on
Facebook
Reddit,
event.
right?
No, it was a Facebook event.
Oh, it was a Facebook event?
It was a Facebook event. Someone made the Facebook event, and then like people started like, oh yeah, clicking going, I'm gonna go and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that one Facebook event where it's like, remember like I forgot what the hurricane name was, but it was like recently, and then it
Let's
was
say
like,
Hurricane Katrina for.
Well, okay, yeah, just for like I guess no, you know I'm not gonna say Hurricane Katrina. Fuck that. Like Hurricane Irma or something like that. I saw a Facebook event and it said, "Oh, like vapors assemble. We're all gonna gather together. We're gonna blow smokes in a counter circle to counterwave the hurricane." That shit made me laugh, dude.
Did you respond to that, Ben?
No, I sent it to Ben.
We would have needed you.
I don't vape, dude. What are you talking about?
He's a good boy. He's a church. He's a church going
right?
man.
Totally.
He don't.
I don't vape. I actually don't vape.
but
But
I knew he would appreciate that event. It was funny.
yeah, it was just a funny meme about gathering vapors and blowing giant clouds, which is like very funny because like if you know anything about the vaping community, they were into cloud chasing just like 2 years ago. So it's like, which is the act of like blowing large clouds, and yeah, sub-ohming and blowing large clouds, and it's just like maybe that could have worked. I don't know.
Hey, you never know. I mean,
I doubt it.
The
I
power
doubt it,
assembling. I don't know. But
yeah, kind of like if I were to put a slice of bread here and someone in Australia put a slice of bread on the floor, does that make it an Earth sandwich?
It does, but you have to meet
only
exactly
if
where...
you're on the exact opposite side of the world.
Exactly.
Oh, so North and South
Yeah.
Pole would work. Okay.
Now, if you get a hot dog bun and you open it and you place it down on the earth, and you
Yeah,
made a hot dog Earth.
You
You don't need someone else on the other side.
Yeah, you made an Earth hot dog, dude.
Work smarter, not harder.
That's pretty good. But if I take a bite out of it,
If I
it would be
Depends where you put the bun, I
if I
guess.
pour hot fudge on top of like the earth in a pile, did I make a earth ice cream sundae or something like that?
All right, this is starting to sound like a kink.
You're missing the cherry, dude.
Oh, I am missing the cherry
Oh,
right there.
were you about to say this is starting to sound like kinks?
Whoa!
Hey, I'm just gonna say this for any new listeners right now.
Not at all.
We at Shrieks and Geeks do not shame kinks. The only kink we shame is murder.
So we do.
I'm gonna add a cricket soundtrack to that afterwards.
Yeah, play it loud, too.
I'll kink shame. I don't care.
Play
Yeah,
that.
I'll kink shame that.
I'll kink.
I'll kick
I'll
shame
kink
a lot of things. All right, like
That's fucked up.
why? It's just not what I like.
No, I mean the kink.
Oh, but you're saying
Not
I
the
should.
shaming.
Oh, okay,
Not-
okay.
Yeah.
Some kinks are kind of weird, but anyway.
Yeah. Have
In
you
some
guys?
other news,
Yeah, go on.
the stock market
Oh
and
no.
the real market is kind of crazy. There's protests and riots in the street, and there's civil unrest.
And it's going up.
Yeah, the feds are
Yeah.
pumping in hella money. Like the Federal Reserve is just printing money like it's never before. Like
Aren't they gonna make more stimulus checks because of that now?
I don't know.
I heard they were doing a second round.
I think they were talking about that, right? But
Give me my money, Trump.
Wait. So
yeah.
are they taking that money from like somewhere they have saved up or from?
Nah, dude, it's
Another
all
sort?
debt. It's
They're just-
it's just debt.
So
Uh,
that's
Yeah,
Oh,
the
that's
Federal
good.
Reserve is just printing money out of thin air, and they're gonna pump the market with it by buying junk bonds, which are
mhm.
essentially bonds from companies that are extremely risky and extremely volatile, and they're not guaranteed to make money. But the Federal Reserve is willing to buy it to keep the market from crashing. And some might say that the market has already crashed. Speaking from the March Madness, if you want to talk about that, the whole market falling like 30 something percent, biggest loss in probably like 10 years.
This is
February
like,
through March was pretty
Yeah.
insane when
this
it
is like
comes to that.
the third recession we faced in our lifetimes, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
That's
We're
insane.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, we were born before the dot-com bubble, and that popped. Although we weren't old enough to take advantage of it or feel its effects, I think that it's only piled on more debt for us to pay off in the future. The dot-com bubble, the housing crisis, and now this.
The quarantine.
3 very, very big recessions that millennials have had to deal with. So
There's only one real simple solution for millennials to have to do to get rid of all that debt.
yeah.
Eat the
Go on.
rich.
Okay.
Eat the
No,
rich.
listen. You take out $100,000, right? And then you file for bankruptcy when you're 18, okay?
Okay.
So you
Problem
take out a
is,
giant loan, okay?
We're not
You take out a
18.
giant loan when you're 18, and then you file for bankruptcy, right? And then 7 years
with
later,
what collateral?
right? You'll be 25. I don't know, buy a car or something.
With
Maybe
what
not,
money?
But like, take out a loan. Doesn't matter.
We don't have collateral. We just talked about how this limits generational wealth like 30 minutes ago, man.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not a financial advisor, all right? I don't make money off the stock market, okay? Like, if you have $1, don't follow me. You're gonna lose all your money. But these are my opinions, okay? Like, I think that the stock market is probably gonna rebound back, and it'll probably hit all-time highs for the next few months, because the same thing happened in the past, 2008. It happened in 2008. It happened in 2000. It happened in like the 1930s, before the Great Recession, before the Great Depression. In 1929, the stock market was at an all-time high. The Dow Jones was at like $218 or something like that, and literally 2 years later, the Dow Jones was valued at like $40. So that's a huge loss.
I don't know what the Dow Jones is.
Okay, so the Dow Jones is kind of like a collective reserve of all companies or not all companies, but mainly industrial companies that are public. So that means that they're able to be traded, and people can take up positions within that company. It tracks all of that, and the better those companies do, the higher it goes up, or the more wealth it generates. But the problem is that it's now inflated by Fed money. This isn't like an actual response to the pandemic. I don't think. This is like a bubble that we've never seen before. Like if there's anything good that comes out of this, is the fact that we learn our lesson and pay and start paying back our debt. Because if we don't, we might be in so much debt that we might lose a position within a world dominance or world superpower per se, like the UK did.
Legit, I think this can only be solved when like the older generations that got us into this debt like are gone, and it's up to our generation is taking over, kind of thing. Because I think it's because like we've like I think like millennials are like the ones that are the most aware of like the consequences that like the boomers and like the the baby boomers caused and everything like that. You know what I mean? Like we're so aware of it, and like I see like so many like PSAs done by people like around in our generation where they're like literally shaming these baby boomers for putting us in this position. And like,
well, yeah,
I think it's like a lot. If in the best case scenario, it's because we're I don't what's the in best case scenario, we're humble enough and good enough to like not cause future generations to have to suffer what we went through. And in like the worst like point of view, we're spiteful and petty enough to like not be as bad as our previous generations, to the point that we will create a better future for all future generations. So in either light, if you want to look at it, we're gonna do better, because you know what I mean, like what else are we gonna do?
Listen, I am a simple man who's an aspiring geologist. I think you should just take all your money out of the bank, just buy as many rocks as you can, and just hide them under your bed. When the economy collapses, you'll have something physical to trade with.
Rocks. You know what I could do? I could probably go out to the desert and get as many rocks as you could buy.
You'll be rich.
I'll be rich.
What? You can trade it for food. You can trade it for water. If they won't take it, you can throw rocks at them until you can take their food and water. What? It's a perfect system, man.
I'll just go in front of your house, Danny, and take all the rocks there.
I have my own rocks. I believe in my right to carry rocks in my pockets. Okay.
Pocket sand.
Fuck you up.
I mean, I remember seeing this like tweet, I think, of someone saying it's easy to not give a shit when you're not going to be alive to have to deal with the consequences, you know? Like,
well, yeah,
in terms of like in terms of like global warming, how like the boomers are like fucking up the economy for the rest of us, everything like that. It's just like it doesn't matter to them. And then like I related to that because I was like, I remember when I was young, my professor was telling me about, or not my professor, my teacher was telling me about how eventually one day the sun will go into a supernova and destroy the earth, and all of humanity will be wiped out. And then I was just wondering, like, well, when's that going to happen? And he said, like, probably not for another million years. And then my first thought was like, oh, well, at least it won't be me that gets burned out by the sun, right? So I'm thinking, like, you know, that's that whole mentality of like, well, fuck everyone else. As long as I'm not alive to have to deal with it, who cares?
Hey, don't worry. If we terraform Mars, no one's going to be here when that happens.
It'll reach Mars, the supernova, no matter
really?
what. It's supposed to go all the way up to. It's supposed to go all the way up to Jupiter, I think.
Our sun's actually too small to go supernova. It's just going to expand into a red giant, shed its outer layer, and then turn into a small dwarf star.
So
I thought you studied rocks and not space.
The sun is a giant rock.
Full of rocks, man.
The sun is a giant flaming rock.
We're on a giant rock.
It's actually a star, okay? It's actually a star.
Stars are just giant glowing rocks.
Made of melting rock.
It's magma, which is a fancy term for hot rocks.
Hey, wait, stupid question, but Venus, it's just a giant, like, ball of fire, basically, right? Or is it, like, an actual, like...
No, I thought it was gas, no?
I don't know, man. I study rocks.
It was gas that's supposed to be very highly flammable. It's gas
so if
that's
I
unifying.
understand,
What is
okay,
Venus?
okay,
It's like
oh.
a giant fireball.
No, I think it just looks that way because it's super hot. But
Well, then, if you
Yeah,
look at
she
Mercury,
is.
you generally don't tend to get gaseous planets until you get further out from the sun, where gravity's weaker, and then the gases start to pile up because of gravity, and then the heavier stuff tends to gravitate more towards that star, and then they tend to clump up together and make
All
planets.
right.
see what doesn't make sense to me is because Mercury is the very first planet next to the sun, but Mercury isn't a giant fireball. But the one next to it, Venus, the second one, is on fire. So why is Mercury not on fire?
Well, Mercury doesn't really have an atmosphere; it's just a hot rock. Well, Venus has an atmosphere; it's a rock, but it's a rock with an atmosphere that's all.
Oh, so that's
and
why
hot
it's on
inside.
fire.
Yeah. We sent like a satellite or a probe there. It took a few pictures and then it melted after it touched the surface.
Mercury or Venus?
Venus.
Have we ever sent
It's
anything
just-
to Mercury before?
Why would
I
we
don't
send
think so.
someone to Mercury?
I kind of remember
I don't know.
seeing that GIF on Reddit
It's
of
GIF.
It's
it's a
GIF.
GIF with a J, but
It's a GIF. It's a
Alright.
GIF.
It's a
whatever.
GIF. It's a GIF.
All right, listen. If you guys want to break up this podcast before we even get it off the ground, we can keep talking about this.
GIF versus GIF podcast. Let's
all
go.
right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think that this is an unprecedented time in terms of economics and going forward. We could be doing better and start paying off our debt, but instead we're not. We're just piling on more and more debt, and what that's going to create is essentially bad business practice where companies can now take on debt for years and years and years, and it doesn't really matter because the government's going to bail them out. They're going to get a huge loan at 0% interest, and they're going to be able to pay off their debt and never learn the lesson. And it's going to mess up the United States market because there's a hyperinflation with the false price of what the company's actually valued at, because these companies don't have to go to you and I to sell their shares anymore. They can sell it to the government. And this is the first time in history where the government or the Federal Reserve has taken an interest in private company bonds. So
We're literally living history.
in history,
Bro, like
I know.
I keep seeing
People have made
memes.
so much money.
I keep seeing memes where it's like, oh, like in 2080 when students are looking through their history books and the teacher says highlight everything important that happened in 2020, and then it's just like a kid that highlighted the entire page. It's because so much shit happened in 2020. It's like, oh, it's fucking insane. Fucking quarantine. Freaking the threat of World War III. That's pretty big. A threat of World War III. Freaking.
I don't think that was ever really
I mean,
that big of a threat. I don't think so. At least
just the idea that like World War III was already like something being like thrown out there. I don't know if it was just like mass hysteria, like mass nationwide.
It was
hysteria.
definitely mass hysteria.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was gonna happen either. No one wants to have a huge war like that because everyone knows the potential of military power everyone has.
Oh,
The U.S. we could destroy
Mm.
every single country if we just let loose all of our nuclear bombs,
Yikes.
and that would just destroy the whole planet. And who that benefits?
Well,
Nobody.
Well, now we more like do wars by proxy.
Yeah.
What we usually do.
Yeah, because it's too costly. Think about it. The economies or the world economy is too interconnected for them to be fighting like that. Instead, they back revolutions or they back certain movements in different countries for their own profit. But
Yeah, I mean, but if
something, yeah.
if we were just gonna play into the idea of World War III actually happening, like we would have been automatically drafted, wouldn't we? Kind of thing.
No, I don't think so. I don't
Really?
think
Not
that-
me.
Yeah, I don't think that a draft is necessarily bound to happen if World War III does happen. I think we do have a lot of military power, and I don't think we need the same amount of people as we did before. All right, because like wars in the past have been pretty simple, right? But now we have unmanned drones that are dropping bombs on people. Like
Yeah.
we don't need the same amount of
I gotta slightly disagree. That's because before it was one coalition against another coalition or one country against another country. Right now, it'd be pretty much U.S. against X, X, and X. For example, if it was like against North Korea, China would jump in. That's why we didn't continue fighting in North Korea. And then if China jumps in, most likely Russia, because I think they're very interconnected when it comes to like ties. So you'd be fighting two major world powers.
But we also have our allies. We have the EU, and we have
EU minus the UK.
Minus the UK, technically.
Yeah.
But we also have Canada. We have
Canada.
I mean, Canada's never been known as like a strong military power, but we can.
They do contribute, yeah.
Yeah, they do contribute,
True,
and
true,
Canada
true.
can play a huge role in terms of supplying American forces with firepower.
That is true.
I just think we should all unite under one global army and focus our efforts on global defense. Because if aliens are real, we gotta fuck them up before they get here.
Yeah, but see, that doesn't generate profits, so you can't sell that idea. Like,
I mean,
would Earth go hard?
With
Would
Earth would
Earth go
go
hard,
hard.
or would the aliens go hard?
Earth would go so.
I'd go so hard on those aliens, dude.
Oh man, dude. I want to meet a sexy alien lady. I want to know if like,
Would you have sex with an alien?
listen, if they're like Gamora from
Traitor.
Guardians of the for Gamora, Guardians
I
of the
have a
Galaxy,
chance. Yeah.
right?
Go on.
Like
No. I'm just saying that if I have a chance to be written down in history as like the first like human alien hybrid,
Hashtag humanity first.
If I have a chance, if I have a chance of being part of the statistic of humans that started interspecies breeding with aliens, only if aliens are like hot, like Hollywood depictions of them, like if they're like Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy, which Zoe Saldana is so beautiful. I'm gonna be part of that statistic, man. All right, I'm gonna have a half Chinese, half alien baby, bro. All right, and they're gonna be an assassin, and they're gonna be a kick-ass motherfucker. That's just.
Can we talk about how in every like Hollywood movie or every idea of an alien does not depict them with any genitals, which probably would play a pretty big role in how they procreate. Like, what if, instead of just actually having sex, they just
like finger touch, like E.T.
They just
and then she's pregnant.
like
or like Avatar, where they get their tails and they connect their tails. Did you ever, even as a kid, I thought that was weird because they connected their tails to have sex, but they also connected their tail to every single animal on the planet. So are they technically also fucking all the animals?
Yes.
But then again, our standards of what we find normal are different. So for them, fucking animals and each other could be normal.
Listen, this is where the part where earlier I said I would king shame and not be ashamed about it comes in. Yeah, that's fucking weird, man. Nah.
Hey, man, that's their culture. How dare you?
Hey,
fuck that. If aliens come all the way over here, you're not coming here to make friends.
Actually, I have something to ask. I have something to talk about culture that I read earlier, but you were gonna say, Ben, about the interspecies alien thing?
This kind of brings up a good point of Joe Rogan. He says that if you look back in like the history of mankind and how far we've come from chimpanzees, right, you would have witnessed that our heads have gotten bigger, right? We're not as muscular, we're not as hairy, and
we can speak in sentences.
We're able to use our brain more than our body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you just fast forward by like millions and millions and millions of years, right? What if aliens are just advanced humans where eventually our heads get so big because we get smarter and smarter as a species, and then we start getting less and less hairy, and that's probably why they're all gray and they don't have any genitals, because what if we realize that like all of this like sex-driven drive is what fucks up our communities with rape,
how do they poop?
Violence, and then I don't know, what if they don't have to anymore? What if like a million years from now on they just don't poop? Or
that was the selling point.
Any sex drive? What if like in the future, because like their fingers got longer too, right? But like in like
all right, you really are.
They have 5 fingers, but they're like longer, right?
You're
what
like,
if they just get so smart that like they don't need to have sex and they just.
You're like,
alright, well, if they're so advanced, they don't need to poop. I think we're fucked anyway.
You are legitimately describing like 80s old time sci-fi movies of what aliens used to look like back then in Hollywood, bro. There's no way. If you're gonna say we're gonna look like that, or that's how aliens look like now, I'm gonna go back to the statistic of the humans that chose not to fuck aliens, okay? But if they do,
Coward.
hey, I'm just saying.
There's actually a really good ongoing theory on why they visit Earth is because they have to abduct humans and they probe them to get like actual DNA to actually mix them with their own alien DNA. Because one, they can't produce via sex, and two, their gene pool is so small and like sort of already moved around so much because they're in space and they're all pretty much one uniform species that they need new DNA as to not pretty much inbreed now.
I'm just saying, if aliens look like Gamora or Ahsoka from Star Wars: The Clone Wars, I'll show them. No.
Okay, hold on.
The one from
the two Star Wars fans here. Ahsoka is 14 years old.
No. I'm talking about like her in Rebels when she's older. Okay.
You said the. All right, whatever. We're not.
Well, I'm saying
You said Clone Wars.
I'm saying, but she's more recognized. She's more recognized. She's more recognized from Clone Wars. If I say like Ahsoka from Star Wars: The Rebels or some shit like that, people are
Just
like,
say Star Wars.
or yeah, fine, Star Wars.
Hey,
Anyway,
chat.
I'm
Do
thinking
you
of
think
buying-
Jocelyn's weird for that or no? Let us know.
I'm just saying, if
Chat,
they
tell
look
us.
like grown up Ahsoka or Gamora, then I'm going to introduce them. They don't have to do that whole probing thing to get in our gene pool. I'll show them the good
They're
old
gonna-
fashioned way of making
They're gonna
babies.
probe you,
That's all
dog.
I'm saying. That's all
They're
I'm
gonna
saying.
probe
I'm
you.
down to show them the old fashioned way if they're down.
They're down to show you the probe.
Just definitely, just like the South Park episode with Eric. Like,
Oh,
they're gonna
no.
probe you, and you're just gonna have
You're
the
gonna-
giant sunlight coming out of your ass.
Just like in the video game.
That was a good
Oh, no.
episode, but
That
yeah.
was a great episode. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So my question about this something having to do with culture. So I was on Reddit a few days ago, and I read an "Am I the Asshole" post. So you guys tell me whether or not this guy's the asshole. I think he's a major asshole. Pretty sure you guys will agree.
You're gonna have
But
to summarize it though, because I don't.
yeah, I will. I'll
so
basically
far.
TLDR.
TLDR.
So basically, this guy, he's like, I think 38, and his girlfriend is 22. They live together. The girlfriend is Native American. In her tribe, they do this thing where they keep their umbilical cords in a leather pouch, and it's part of their tradition and culture to keep that pouch with them until the day they die, because they have to be buried with it. It's very important to them culturally. The boyfriend, who's white, doesn't like it because it smells. And he kind of complains to her about it, but she says it's really important to him cultural-wise. She left it at one point in a box that they both share with all their stuff. He thought he didn't like the smell, so he hid it away just to see how she would react after a whole week. She never brought it up because I guess she didn't notice. So at that point, what he did is he threw it away. He threw away her umbilical cord. Then another week passes. Her mom calls saying, "Hey, I think I can make you a new pouch." She asks for it. She can't find it. She's freaking out. She's crying. He finally admits to her, "Yeah, I threw it away because it was smelly and it was gross and everything like that." And she blew up on him saying it was an important cultural thing. And he said he thought that it was silly for a culture to keep an umbilical cord like that. And it's disgusting. And he quote unquote called it a biohazard. So then she apparently got very quiet, packed all her shit calmly, and just left. And then in the comments, he was just saying shit like, "Oh, she'll be back. I'm the one that I support both of us with all my money, and she lives with me and all that stuff." And then later on, he's like everyone's calling him an asshole, and he's just saying shit like, "Oh, please, I need her back though. She's the one that consoles me. She's the one that feeds me, cleans my stuff. She's the one that is there for me when I'm having a bad day. I need her back. All that stuff." So
Sounds like he needs
verdict.
a mom.
Yeah.
That's
It
what
sounds
other people are saying.
It sounds like everything in this relationship is about how it benefits him.
I know, right?
I'm just pointing.
And then there were some people in the comments that were just saying "Oh yeah, I get it's a cultural thing, but that's so gross to keep an umbilical cord, especially if it smells. That could be a biohazard. So you know what? Not the asshole. It was good of you to throw it away."
I bet they're white.
Marry her. If it's a fucking deal breaker, then just break it up. If they're like, "Hey, I can't live with you with this umbilical cord. I get its culture, but I can't get over it." She goes "Nah, I won't." They're like, "All right, I guess we just won't work out. It's okay." That's what the pre-marriage stuff, the dating part, is for.
Or
If you knew it was a deal breaker, why do you? All right, whatever.
alternatively, they could have just put it in a separate box and just seal it like a Tupperware.
They could have also put it in like a air sealed proof bag, like the pouch inside an air sealed proof bag, so it won't smell anymore, and it's just gonna be in the bag. I don't know. There's so many other solutions than throwing it
what
away.
they could have done, but it doesn't matter what they could have done. All that matters is the fact that he feels like it's in his right to throw away someone else's item.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the item is, it doesn't matter. It's not yours, so it's not your decision to throw it away. And I think that in of itself is kind of messed up. Like, especially if she's already explained to him multiple times that it's something that is very culturally important to her. Like, if you did care about someone you live with or someone that you're obviously in a relationship with, then like, why?
He didn't care about her. He
cared
needed
about
her.
what she could do for him.
Yeah, so that's another thing. So I think we all agree that like it's important culturally, and you should respect your partner's culture, right?
Yeah, and their belongings.
Yeah, and their belongings. Like don't throw your fucking partner's shit out. You know what he compared it to her throwing out one of his favorite old T-shirts. He compared her throwing away her umbilical cord to her throwing away one of his old ratty T-shirts that had a big hole in it. He compared it to that.
She's taking care of you, buddy. She's throwing away your crap.
Fuck off,
Be
dude.
nice to your mom, dude.
Be nice to
Piece
your
of
mom.
shit.
Yeah. So another thing. Another thing is a lot of people were bringing up his. They were bringing up the age difference, and then when he added in edits, he was just saying like, please stop bringing up our age difference. Like it shouldn't matter in this. Blah blah blah. All that. But in my honest opinion, a 38-year-old man dating a 22-year-old girl, like there's I don't know.
Okay.
It is.
What do you guys think about that?
It's definitely weird.
You go first.
My point of view is so long as they're two consenting adults and with their full mental faculties, that's all fine. As long as they didn't start knowing each other when one of them was underage.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they met when she was 18.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird, legal, but weird. But here's the thing: it is indicative of how he treated her up until when she left. He was looking for someone younger than him, so he can manipulate or get
someone to shape.
mold into who he wanted. That's why he went after someone so young. He didn't love her, like obviously seen by the way he talked about their relationship. He didn't love her. He was looking for someone to mold. Maybe there's
God damn.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like, I like dating younger women, but come on, dude. Come on, dude.
That's a huge difference. Like,
Yeah, you're
38,
24, man.
That's a 16-year difference, right? 38, 22, met when she was 18, so he must have been 32.
Yeah.
He was 32 when he met her when she just graduated high school.
Yeah.
What 32-year-old dude is picking up high
You
school
could have started a
girls
family by then, dude. You could have been married with a house and a kid on the way. Like
32 though. I mean, that's
yeah.
don't pressure me, Ben.
Hey,
I'm 25 here. I was 7 years. Come on.
I'm
You
just
got
saying
7
that,
years, man. That's plenty of time.
The older you
Come
get,
on,
the more
buddy.
they-
Get to work.
They're not gonna be as
Worldly.
Young.
yeah.
You're not gonna be a spring
Technically
chicken.
speaking, they're most fertile in their early 30s to mid 30s. Women. Or, I mean, I could be wrong. Hey, if there are any women in the chat that want to tell me I'm wrong, let me know. I could be wrong completely.
I thought it was like
If we had any woman in the chat, they left as soon as I started talking about fucking like aliens, dude. I'm just saying. If we had
Either that
women in
or
the chat-
I was told that they're hornier in their early 30s to mid 30s. It was one of the two.
Again, we're not scientists.
We're not scientists. I don't know.
I can tell you when a rock is horny. All the time.
I'm gonna add a cricket soundtrack to the.
Get it? Because it's
post
always
later.
hard.
Ha! Rock hard.
Ben coming in for the save. That was a good catch, man.
That was.
I know that was a little like.
It was the most obvious thing he could have said. It was the most obvious
Listen,
thing you could
I
do.
think the obvious jokes are good. It's just like show ending. Just because you know how it's gonna end doesn't mean it's bad.
Okay, well,
That's
going back into it, I don't think age differences are huge. Like, obviously there's some couples that make it work with a huge age difference, right? Like,
Mm.
I'm not saying all of them are bad, but I do
If
think
it's
that,
healthy.
yeah, if it's healthy. But I do think that older men that pray or start dating girls that are barely out of high school, because I know it's like proven through studies that most people don't finish mentally developing until they reach around 24, 25. My assessment is pretty fair, right?
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
we're
that's
still like mentally developing. So for
So
someone
we're on
that's
a cap.
for someone that's 7 years past that point to
Mm.
purposely go after a younger woman that is still in her teens
Hmm.
and still mentally developing
In one of the most formative years.
in the
of
most
your
yeah
teens.
one of the most formative years, because I think after high school, going into college is the years that you want to make an impression the most,
You
right?
change a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're all about to hit the final year, or we're all in the year where we're fully mentally developed. Unfortunately, 5 more years till we're all 30. Jesus Christ. But dude, I am not like, we're nothing like we were when we were 18, right? Can we all agree on that?
I'm much cooler.
Yeah. I'm nothing like I was 18. I don't know. Man.
debatable, but you know.
Hey, whoa.
Okay.
Whoa,
Um,
buddy. You
I
remember
think-
when I was 19, alright? Shut up.
I changed a lot since I was 18.
Yeah,
Like-
definitely.
Like,
without
I
a doubt,
was super
we've all
skinny,
changed.
then I got fat, then I got skinny again.
Well, we're talking more about like mentally.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Well, I mean, would you not agree that Daniel's ability to go through all of those changes shows you that he's mentally changed? I would have definitely said so. Like, he was probably in a poor state of mind when
Yeah,
he
that's
gained
true.
a lot of weight, and then gotten better as he lost the weight and have grown mentally because of it.
Well, I was just talking more about like his perspective on like life, like
Yeah.
the way you
Definitely
view,
changed.
yeah, the way you view things. Like, fuck, when I was 18, like, I'm just gonna straight up admit I was one of those. I was one of those self-declared nice guys. Which I'm not anymore. Yeah, I was a simp
Okay,
at
you
18.
too.
At
You
18,
too, little twin boy.
I
Come
know.
on, it ain't different.
and then like,
shit, bro.
yeah, like, wait,
If
Daniel,
he
like, would you
breathes,
say
he's a
at
simp.
at 18, would you say you were sort of a simp, or at least a simp, compared to how you
I
are
was,
now?
Damn, sis.
I plead the fifth.
Well, I don't mind airing that out about myself because I have grown from that period of my life. But I mean, like, what I was from when I was 18 till 25, completely different. You know, it's like a huge spurt of growth in terms of, you know, perspective, mental capacity, everything like that. So I think like, I don't think like it's a huge difference if it's like a 25-year-old dating like a 38-year-old, you know, like that's a big age gap, but you know, like,
Not too
I
weird.
think, yeah, not too weird,
not
but
too
like to be 32, chilling out in a high school, like waiting to pick your girlfriend up after her last day on senior year is kind of like,
That's
that's not a
creepy
good
as
look.
shit.
Creepy as shit. And I think the general consensus is like most guys who prey on young girls that come out of high school are usually the ones that can't get women their own age, right?
Typically.
Yeah.
That works.
I mean, what-
but,
yeah.
I mean, like,
Sometimes people are just straight up evil, I think.
yeah, but we can't. I mean, come on, we can't like disagree that Leonardo DiCaprio's definitely dated girls way below his age range. But I mean, nobody sees that as weird, right? Like,
I
It's a
everybody
meme, I
sees it as,
think.
Like,
Yeah.
this extremely hot and attractive, like, successful male actor is dating a bunch of like models that are way younger than he is, and nobody. That's
They're always
nice.
like from 21 to 22, and then he dumps them at like 25, 26.
didn't
Yeah,
he say that he only dates supermodels because they're the only ones that can never really understand him?
I don't know what he said.
I remember him saying that. I don't know, something about the context of he's
Something with
also
the
super desirable or something. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not gonna pretend to understand the mind of Leonardo DiCaprio.
yeah, same. Doesn't matter. What matters, what actually matters, is whether or not you're dating at a proper age.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think I think at least you would have a much more mentally stimulating relationship with someone who's around your age, as they're able to
Grow with you.
Yeah, in theory, grow with you and change mentally and physically as you guys age together. I mean, think about it. Like, you're gonna be like 40 something when she celebrates her 25th birthday. What? Dude,
Yeah,
come
dude,
on.
you're gonna be too old
So-
and tired to go party.
One of the listeners actually brought up a good point. Wild Spirit said, "Can we talk about Madonna then?"
I don't know anything
Who?
about Madonna.
She dates a lot of younger guys. Yeah, it's like her thing.
Yeah.
Madonna? Yeah.
Yeah, there's always this weird like double standard between older men dating younger girls, which is seen as creepy, versus like younger men dating older women, which is seen like holy shit, like the girls, it's like,
Yeah.
oh wow, like yeah, and the dudes, it's always like, yeah, you got a cougar, you know.
I think for
mean,
Madonna,
I
I think it's a
wouldn't-
money thing.
I'm not gonna lie, if one of y'all started dating Madonna, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, dude, score. I'm gonna be like, bro, what the hell? Dog, she's as old as our mom. What the fuck? Come on, man.
I think it's a money and power thing with if we're talking about Madonna, because if you notice, she usually dates people who are not as famous as her or not as rich, from what I remember.
So we have a chance, is what you're saying.
I'm just saying, yeah.
Hey, wait, Ben, you can get a sugar mama if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, man, she can take it to the Grammys and stuff, dude. It'd be cute. You can plug our podcast.
all I'm
Great.
saying, all I'm saying is that if you're able to make money off of your looks, why not?
I was like,
Why
don't.
not? Why not? I'm just gonna stay quiet because I feel like that's kind of a self-explanatory kind of thing, you know. Like, if you can use your looks for profit and worldly gains, you know, all the power to you. I'm not saying that it's the right thing, but I'm saying it's definitely one of the more easier things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing I was gonna add it finally about like or with the whole like age gap thing is like, oh, I was just gonna make a joke saying like, I think the older men that go after younger girls are basically incels that learned game, but for high school girls because they barely learned how to do game for that. You know? What would you say about incels, Ben?
Definitely not. Incels are incels. I would say are like a different level of low value men, and I mean there's some women too, but I feel like it's mainly men who are incels, and I think it's because of the fact that they were not like brought up differently, but rather they've just never really entirely been exposed to the possibilities of mutual
It seems like a really
conversation.
self-feeding kind of loop of hatred when it comes
Oh, yeah.
from what I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I read a very good book a few years ago. It's I forgot what it was. Oh shoot, I forgot what it was called. But it's about winning and playing pool.
Mhm.
I forgot what the title was. Shoot.
Ben-
Something about
Fin-
winning or something?
Dude, we're a podcast. We don't need a source of information. We're good.
Let me
We don't need to back any of this up.
All of our sources come from what we read on Reddit or
Yeah.
see on Twitter.
Why? Because I said so.
I actually got it. So it's called The Hustler by Walter Tevis. Walter Tevis. And in the book, it kind of goes into the idea that self-pity is everyone's indoor favorite sport, and it's a very realistic idea that, you know, everybody does like to pity themselves, and I think it's worse when you're an incel because all of these things play into the idea that women are treating you unfairly, but
Like,
it's
oh,
realistically
poor
just
you.
because you have low value. Yeah, come on, dude. Like, if you got up out of your house and actually did something, maybe you wouldn't be an incel, you know?
I just
Also-
think. Sorry, go ahead.
I was like, oh, I was just gonna add like just a little like funny commentary, being like, yeah, also like making fun of women and thinking of them as objects also doesn't really help your out
Your
either.
case.
Yeah, it doesn't help your case either.
Yeah, dude. Women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All I was gonna say, I just don't think you should make your central purpose as a young man to just about women. Because if you notice that like these subreddits are like, oh, do this hobby to meet women or do this to meet women, and you should just go out there and try to get out of your shell in general. The whole self-improvement thing, Because like,
I disagree.
yeah, like when I was younger, I used to be afraid of just talking to people in general.
Yeah.
Just that's my main goal now. Just go outside and just talk to new people. That's fine. I'm okay with that now.
Yeah.
We actually go a little more in depth than that. If you listen to one of our what we previously used to call off the script, we actually have an entire off the script episode based on the art of game and bettering yourself. So go ahead and check that out when we go ahead and post it
a
up.
lot of stockpiled episodes.
All right, it's not even.
It is complete. I edited it.
Well, no.
Oh, wow.
The episode is, but I'm talking about the conversation.
The conversation.
I think the conversation's done. There's definitely way more to talk about.
It's an always evolving conversation.
Yeah.
It's like an always evolving conversation.
Yeah.
I think.
That
I think
conversation
that's.
might have to be for another time, but we're out of time now.
We've been going.
Got some final things to go ahead and say before we go ahead and sign off. Just want to go ahead and repeat for anyone that wants to go and help out with the Black Lives Matters movement. If you didn't hear in the beginning, there's some charities and organizations you can go ahead and send donations to. The Bail Project at bailproject.org. Go ahead and check out GoFundMe's for the George Floyd Memorial Fund. Also, Campaign Zero. We'll probably, if you guys want to find links, we'll try to include it in the YouTube video because we're going to start uploading these live stream podcasts on our YouTube channel. Check out Campaign Zero at joincampaignzero.org. Or if you don't have any money to donate, go ahead and check Zoe Amira's YouTube channel. She has a video that you can go ahead and just play, turn off your ad block, mute it, keep it on repeat. All the ad revenue from that video is just going to go straight to various BLM organizations.
Muting it is an option. You can listen to it too. It shows a bunch of cover art by a bunch of black artists and music by black artists as well. Muting it is an option, but we encourage you to not mute it and just to enjoy content made by black artists.
Sorry, go down.
Oh, it's just a little tidbit. If you're going out there to protest, make sure to stay safe, guys. Wear a mask. Bring some water. Water's your friend. It can get hot. You can get tear gas. You can get something in your eye. Make sure to wear some eye protection if it does get a little rough. Just remember not to wear any swimming goggles. Just stay safe.
Your emergency contacts right here. Emergency contacts.
Oh, I didn't know that one actually.
Yeah. And then just find another thing. For the people there that can't go out and protest, don't feel bad about it. There's multiple ways to go and help out. You don't need to go out and you don't have to go out there if you're not comfortable with it or anything like that. Like I said, those organizations that I mentioned earlier are ways that you can go and help out.
Sign some petitions, donate to some organizations.
There's a pandemic going around. Some people live with more immunocompromised people, so it's understandable.
Yeah. Aside from that, After Dark, we'll start calling. You'll notice that before we called it Off the Script, but now it's going to be called After Dark as a series that we're going to probably redo every Saturday night, right, you guys, at like 7 p.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for the people that were asking earlier, if you managed to stick with us this entire live stream, for the Shriek content or Geek content, we actually do regular episode content. I think we're going to, you guys want to move it to Friday night if we remove the earlier thing that we were trying to do?
That's still up for discussion. If you can follow us on Instagram, Shrieks and Geeks Podcast on Instagram. You can follow us there. We also have a Facebook group page, Shrieks and Geeks. You can follow us there.
Make sure it says the full word podcast, Shrieks and Geeks Podcast, when it comes to our Instagram.
Because there might
It's free advertisement.
And on Facebook, it's Shrieks, the N symbol, then Geeks. Okay.
And then Twitter at Shrieks_Geeks. Like I repeat, Twitter at Shrieks_Geeks. We'll post up updates. I will be hosting the next Shrieks and Geeks content episode. For those that were wondering about it being a Shriek episode, it will be a pretty dark one. So go ahead and sit tight. We'll try to keep things light because as Shrieks and Geeks, we talk about dark stuff, but we also try to add humor into it in order to not make light of the situation, but to keep things from getting too dark because that's just our personalities, Or
glorifying any of those serial killers or villains.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching us. This is Shrieks
and
Geeks.
Guys.
Thank you.
I got one last plug.
Yeah.
One last plug.
one last plug. We're not experts at anything. Don't take whatever we say as like fact. This is just all of our opinions, and we're just kind of having a conversation as we normally would between friends. And that's pretty much it. If you happen to make a lot of money in the past few months because of the stock market, I'm very happy for you. A lot of people have been making lots and lots of money off the stock market lately, but stay bullish.
Yeah.
Right.
And if there's something you liked or didn't like about the episode, let us know. We want to improve.
Yeah, share it. Share it.
All right, thanks for listening to us. This is we're the Shakes and Geeks podcast. Remember, Black.
I just realized we never. I just realized.
Yeah, we never introduced ourselves.
We never introduced ourselves this entire time.
That's okay.
Holy crap.
For the loyal fans that know us.
Yeah, that's all right. You could find our names next time. We'll introduce ourselves next time, okay? But you'll know us as Shakes and Geeks podcast. Remember, Black Lives Matter. Stay safe. We all have to stand together during these times, and that's the only way we can make change, by standing together. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being loyal. See you guys
Take care.
next
Good night, guys.
Thursday.